Welcome back across space and time to a section of the Alpha Quadrant where we control the Alpha and the Omegas, where we are in the Captain's Quadrant. And with me, as always, my co host, Lieutenant Jason. How are you, sir?
Good day, Captain. Sorry about the outfit. I've just been. Was it Righteous for that
Yes,
vacation planner?
took a little shore leave. I see.
Yeah, took a little bit of shore
joining you.
leave.
I'm joining you. I'm joining you. I've got my
Yeah, that's a great T-shirt, by the
oh
way.
yeah,
But
my
there you go. That's
classic.
showing my age. But
Yeah, you're only a few years older than me, so it's about the same.
well, I'm
Yeah.
excited to talk about this episode.
What
This week,
an
Cap.
episode! We're here for all things Star Trek. This is Captain's Quadrant. I'm your co-host Joe Dove, Captain Dove for the purposes of the show of the Captain's Quadrant, and Lieutenant Jason is with me as always. We have so much Picard to talk about, so many good things, so little nice ohs in this episode, and a new mystery to unsolve. So let's get right into the thick of it. If you're ready, I'm ready, sir.
Let's do the episode summary.
So I gotta say, this episode stood out more so than majority of those episodes this whole season because I felt that the cameo of this one just threw me off, and we'll get right into that. But let me get straight to the meat and bones. Tallinn enters Picard's subconscious mind to help him wake from a coma and face his deepest fears. Seven and Raffi search for Jurati, fearing she succumbed to her own inner monster. And Rios struggles to hide the truth about himself from Teresa. This episode is called Monsters. This is the 7th episode of the season, which means we've only got 3 left.
Oh yeah,
which is heartbreaking.
Yeah. I'm in denial.
It's heartbreaking because this is such a great season, great series. I'm having so much fun talking with you about it. This has become my Saturday ritual that I absolutely adore. And I'm just glad that we can converge space and time to fit ourselves and our schedules to make this happen. So once again, I just want to say thank you for putting this all together. You mean the world to me, sir.
No problems, Cap. Just doing my job.
All right. So let's get into the pros and cons of the episode.
Pros and cons.
Yes, State of Lore. I love that. That's probably my favorite thing about this episode. Well, there's so many pros in this episode, I couldn't contain myself. First of all, the gradual takeover of the Borg Queen on Jurati is just insane. But I just want to jump into the image I gave you and the big the big guest star this week. You may remember him from Battlestar Galactica, and that's Gaius Balta. And this was a really nice nod and mystery that they wrapped up. The name of it's another James, like my brother. His name is James Callis, and he played the psychiatrist that was interviewing Picard to deal with Picard's stresses and to get into his inner psyche. And that was a play because he was actually in some type of strange realm in his own mind where he was fighting to, overcome some type of some conscious takeover.
That's it. The subconscious he was battling his own subconscious, and particularly with those scenes with the psychiatrist, the interplay between the both of them,
fantastic, yeah. And we had a mystery that was building that I didn't actually foresee coming to the resolution that it did while it was playing out. I totally was oblivious to that until it happened, and it was like, oh my goodness. And then we go into young Picard, and we get to see he and his mom dealing with the monsters of the childhood of Jean-Luc and in the Chateau Picard.
Yeah.
And it would led me to think
that took a twist that I was not expecting.
No, and it was a very positive. I don't really have many cons for this episode. I'm going to tell you right now. This is a very heavy, strong, multilateral.
I've won.
Oh,
interesting. We'll talk about that. But
okay, all right.
This stuff with Picard and his mum, and obviously, this is all spoilers. I don't know why you'd be watching this if you haven't seen it.
Have seen this.
But essentially, I had felt so far the series was talking about Picard's trauma with his mother in regards to abandonment issues or something like that. But as we discover, It's really
Ooh.
about mental health issues.
Right.
Because
That
that's
threw
where the
me for a
twist
loop.
comes.
Right.
I mean, you probably should. We should spell it out who that psychiatrist. Find
Right.
out who
So
that.
later on, we find out that the psychiatrist is actually Picard's father. And that blew me.
Yeah, because we had
threw me
not
for a loop.
addressed that at all.
No.
And then
And we know
getting from
very
that-
little of his lineage.
Absolutely.
We know he had a
Especially his
brother. We know he had
parents.
niece and nephews, but we didn't know much about his parents at all.
I was thinking about that. His parents barely mentioned in the series. Over 7 years, and the movies, I don't remember ever mentioning his father.
Right.
But I could be wrong. But
no, I don't recall either.
But the fact that we actually discover throughout that plot line that it's actually the trauma's not coming from abandonment, it's coming from these factors. His mum had some pretty severe mental health issues. And his father, who he'd villainized, was essentially trying his best as a father to deal with it.
Right.
I don't think he maybe was appropriately dealt with, but he was doing what he felt right. So he's not a villain. He was trying to protect his son as well as protect his wife.
Right.
So
it reminded me of the villain that you love to hate because he's actually got a point.
The great villains always have a point.
Right.
Or Thanos. He's always got a point, you know.
Yeah. And that's
what else is in the current one? But yeah, I absolutely love that. It's a big pro. That whole plot line there was a really big pro in my book because I thought they handled it so well. The scenes were enjoyable to watch. Big tick for me.
Yeah.
The next one, though, I think we got to talk about is Guinan, isn't it?
Yes, we finally got the reason why we have the stance. It has finally been resolved.
There's
30
a lot
some
of
odd years later.
Yeah.
Oh my God, fantastic! I think she did a great job of playing young Whoopi.
Yeah.
Do you have that image? Let's go.
Oh yes. This scene. I Dream of Jeannie scene.
Right. They have the genie in the bottle. They somehow managed to make an agreement with the Q continuum, and they can summon Q, and they have an ability to push the Q off, which leads me to
it's like a defensive maneuver, isn't
it? Right. And it was I know you hate the cliffhangers mid-show, but it left us with the cliffhanger of the Picard getting arrested.
I don't mind.
Really?
I don't mind this one because we were given so much goodness before the cliffhanger. Yeah. And the other thing is what you just said about, they've come to agreement, which implies very heavily that they were in a war at some point.
Yes.
It implies heavily that or even if it's a Cold War type of scenario, and they've come to a truce.
Right.
So there's some bad blood between them.
The Elorians and
the Q and continuum. They name them, don't they? Don't they name what the Q is? In this, they give them a name. It started with a D. I can't remember. I'm just having a look here. I can't quite find it. But they named the species of Q.
Right.
Which was, that's another huge thing.
Huge shoe drop over there.
So absolutely big tick for all that. Any minor issue I might have had would be the fact that I want to see Whoopi back.
Yeah.
I do want to see Whoopi back in the role.
I do want to see,
the actress who's playing the role was fantastic. Like, she's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But just for my own nostalgia's sake, I just want to see more Whoopi.
Yeah. The whole bill.
Yeah.
And then we got another tidbit of surprise where we got the Watcher is actually the Romulan.
That's my con.
That's your con, really?
That's my con.
Wow. So
I'll tell you what's my con.
Mm-hmm.
Why did she have to? If she's a Watcher and not seen by people, why did she have to hide the fact that she was a Romulan?
Because
I don't understand why she had to hide as a Romulan. And it just felt like an easy fix.
Well, it was because of the way we would react to an alien species on our planet at that time.
Yeah, but then she said, I just have to wear my hair down for a few hours, kind of thing. It just seemed like a lot of effort for something you just put a hat on or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a minor. Con, to be honest, I'm being nitpicky, but it was the only thing I'm like, hey man, like. It seems like a very quick kind of, we're going to confuse you for a few episodes and make you question whether she's part of that family or she is her or that. And then it's
But
just like,
she's supposed to be a new
Harvey's.
species. No, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Harvey's.
They threw
That's
that
my
off.
only problem. But I loved her intervention into Picard's subconscious scenes too.
Right.
So
And
I really love that.
the new mystery. Because there was some more issues that Picard had the skeleton key and was going to open the door.
Yeah.
And you were going to find out more about the issues with his mom, the monster, so to speak, the mental illness monster that he had to face as a child. And she even said, there's more unlocked here. This story doesn't end here. And she went to open the door, but they woke Picard up.
Yeah.
So that left a big question mark for me. It wasn't a
and we still have a
convo.
Picard who's not really wanting to uncover that either, because that scene afterwards when they were out, he's kind of hesitant, isn't he, to kind of dig deeper. I think he would prefer just to
bottle it
he's
away.
taking the information on the surface level that he's receiving and running with that, even though he knows there's more going on in his subconscious that he really wants to address at this point. It's fascinating.
Right. It was great. It was great. I love the way they tackled mental illness in this episode.
Look, I will give them mad props for this season, because they're handling a lot of social issues in this season, and they seem to be doing it, in my opinion, with a bit of class.
Absolutely. Especially the fact that, they presented the good side of the mental illness is they have this imagination that's so vivid and so wild that it put them off as Picard was a young prince and that was the queen, and they drew, and you saw the ruins of the Chateau Picard, of the actual drawings that Picard drew as a child with his mother, and how it came to life, and the animations that came forward, and the shadow monsters that were off in the distance.
You're right. Framework of that subconscious is he's reverting to stories he read as a child as the environment that he's dealing with his own sub. So you're right. It looks like the chateau, but it also looks like a medieval castle.
Right.
So that's very smart writing too.
Yes.
Basically going, well, from a kid's perspective, he'd want to be in a place where he felt safe and happy, and that would be childhood stories for him. And that's why he's a prince, and it's wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was kind of hoping that Guy Spalter, Jamie Callis, was going to be an actual psychiatrist, so we could see him again in the Starfleet uniform, and he'd be an actual recurring character. I just think that actor is so fantastic.
Oh, look, he's one of the standout for me characters over the series of Battlestar Galactica. He really was, what I mean? Didn't particularly like him in the first couple episodes of Battlestar Galactica, but that was by design by the writers. You weren't supposed to like him.
Exactly.
And you kind of, I don't know if I always kind of really like him by the end, but I think his arc throughout that series was really good. So
so I'm hoping that they bring him back as a character in the future.
Would love to see him.
Maybe Picard
absolutely.
Like
but this episode raised a lot of questions.
It did.
So I think it's actually, before we do go on, one thing that I think was missing from this episode.
What's that?
The ghost of Space Legolas.
Yes, there was no side eye into some young Spanish man that looked like the ghost of Legolas. Yeah, I feel like Raffi and Seven had minor roles in this episode.
Oh yeah, that's about a repairing of their relationship. I felt.
Yes,
they're kind of reconnecting very much, and I mean they serve the purpose of uncovering the transformation of the Borg Queen.
The Borg Queen, But I also, and now I have, I'd like to present our future speculations. Yes. Fantastic. It's all true, especially the lies. The amazing thing that I noticed, and it was a quick blurb, but when Seven and when Raffi returned to the ship, the ship has some control lost.
Yeah.
It blipped out for a second, and then the Borg were. So I believe in the future, when that space temporal vortex rips open and the Borg Queen starts to assimilate the Stargazer, I think that's Rios' ship that has been assimilated by the Borg.
Oh, wow!
Because
That's an interesting
yeah,
idea, isn't
yeah.
it? That's
Be-
been assimilated and organically built around it
exactly.
to make that kind of pyre kind of
Mhm.
shape.
Because the shape, the center of the shape is very similar to.
Wow, good pickup.
Yeah.
I'll go with you on that one. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for
my
sure.
future big heavy
Yeah.
future speculation this
I don't
time.
have any massive speculations this week, except probably more backing up ones I'd said before. We're clearly going to see
Jurati Borg.
become the Borg Queen.
Yeah.
I can't even speculate where I think Picard is going to end up with his resolution of his trauma, where we're going to be by the end of that. So big tick for them, because I got no idea which way they're going to kind of
There you go. Yeah.
So I like that. To back another future speculation, there's absolutely going to be a showdown, I think, at some point between Q and Guinan.
I agree.
I think
but it's going to be young Guinan, unfortunately, and not.
Yeah, not Whoopi.
Yeah. And I really think Adam soon is going to appear one more time before the episode's wrapped up. And our ultimate resolution is going to be the return of Riker and the original cast, Jurati. I think this season's going to have to end with Jurati and Miri Serkis or Beverly Crusher.
We actually do what you to set up season 3.
Right. They're going to have to, because it was mentioned that LeVar would be returning for this season, or Michael Dorn even. But they did mention that these folks would be returning. Only Jurati, actually. So he has to appear somehow.
You're right. He was mentioned, and we haven't seen him yet.
We haven't seen him, so I think
he's definitely got something, to do with the last final couple of episodes, I think.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a heavy, heavy season ending. I think we're going to be sad. I think this is my biggest future speculation. I think this is going to be the Empire Strikes Back, Revenge of the Sith type of heavy ending. With a glimmer of hope, and I think that glimmer of hope is going to be the remaining cast of the Starship Enterprise that we knew was the Enterprise D. But now here's a fan hopeful theory of mine, and I'd like to hear what you think of this.
Okay.
We know that in the time where Picard's retiring, or it was Admiral Picard, the Enterprise F was in flight.
Yes.
And Worf was the captain at that time. The Andorian takes over later, as we know from the Star Trek canon of the video games, which I've heard is, kind of in and out. But we do know that Worf is captain of the Enterprise. Is Worf out of the space and time, and will he be the one to come and save the day? And like, okay, well, this went super awry, but we happen to be there.
Yeah. So, and then boom, here comes the Enterprise F.
Yeah.
With Worf as captain. Yeah.
My only
I'd go with it. I'd absolutely, but then I would go, well, where was he till the end of last season then?
Doing Worf things.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe I'd assume they probably would have mapped out some of the Gamma Quadrant, or they're at the beginnings of the Delta Quadrant at this point in time.
Right. So, he's busy off doing Enterprise.
Yeah, he's off
F to E.
Trying to get those dramatic houses of all of his species to actually calm down and get along with each other.
Yeah,
very emotional Klingons, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
and it'd be nice to get since we have so much heavy Deep Space Nine. It would nice to see some of those characters, maybe a Martok or.
I am shocked at this point we haven't had one.
Anybody,
You know what I've been watching just recently that popped up on one of our streaming services here was the Center Seat. That season called The Center Seat. Did you ever see that?
No, never.
Hosted by Beverly Crusher.
Oh.
Gates McFadden. Only made last year.
Oh, wow.
9 episodes. And it goes into every kind of important period in Star Trek. And they do go over Next Generation, Deep Space Nine.
Oh, wow.
Voyager, Enterprise. They go into... they don't really go into the Kelvin movies. They kind of tend to... stick with television Star Trek.
Okay.
But fascinating show. So I've been seeing the one about Deep Space Nine I watched the other day, and I'm like, be really great. Yeah, just to get one or two characters in there.
Right.
Even if it's bringing back Zimmerman to play Quark, I'd love to see him somewhere along the line.
Yeah. Or Max Grodenchek as Rom.
Yeah, or what's his name? The son. What am I going blank?
Oh no, he passed on. Or
No,
Sirach Lofton, Cisco's son.
no. Cisco's son. Yeah.
Yeah, Sirach Lofton. Yeah,
Because he's a writer.
Yeah.
So it'd be great because you could bring him in as kind of a reporter at some point, even if it's next season in that. But you could bring him back, and I think it'd be age appropriate.
Yeah.
Maybe he's doing a story on what's kind of going on in the particular moment. So I think he'd be a good.
He'd be fantastic. And I saw a bit of fun crossing of genres this weekend. There is, and I got a like from the actor, but if you're familiar with Star Wars, the new set, the Disney Star Wars, the guy who was Ray Finn, the actor who was Finn, John Boyega, he actually met up with I'm gonna butcher his name if I try, but we're at some type of convention photo op thing, and John Boyega and David. Now, if I say it wrong, I really apologize. Ajala. That's Book from Discovery. And they had a great pic together. It was Star Trek meeting Star Wars.
Actually, I saw it on Twitter. I think you shared it. Yeah,
I shared it because he liked it. And I'm like, Yeah. So big thanks to David Ajala for liking my post. And if you're listening to this by chance, hey, I appreciate you so much.
Talk Trek.
If you want to talk Trek, we have a link for you. You don't have to meet in any studio. It's from the comfort of your own home. Love to have you on. That was a little bit of Star Trek news that I thought.
Oh, that is awesome. That is
promising.
Awesome.
But
so we're moving forward. We're getting to the real meat to the bones. I mean, if we were to split this series into 3 acts, beginning, middle, and end, next week is the start of the 3rd act. It's the start of the final chunk of the series, so which is going to be titled Mercy, apparently.
Ooh, wow!
I like that.
I like that a lot.
Is that people asking the Borg Queen for mercy?
I know she's asking for help at the end, so that's another going to be a fun thing. Do you feel that the Borg have taken a seat back for the last bit of the episodes, the last 2?
No, I don't, because I think the storyline of the transformation into the Borg Queen, it's not the main storyline in that episode, so it is taking a little bit of a backseat. But I think it's kind of, if you look at the timeline, it was front and center. It's taken a bit of a backseat, but it's definitely going to be the front and center. In the next 3 episodes, it has to be, doesn't it? I mean, the whole series is built around that opening sequence from the first episode. So
and I got to say, this is the first time that I'm watching a season of Star Trek, and then I'm watching episodes again to catch things that I missed.
I didn't get a chance this week, but I certainly have done that in the past, and will continue to do that. I will probably do a binge right at the end too.
Yeah, same.
And just try to watch it as one type of storyline.
But wouldn't you say that that's a great a testament to the writers and the writing of the season? Because the last season, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie. But I watched it, and then I watched it again when you and I did the retrospective. Which, if you're interested, we have the whole season 1 retrospective available on all your favorite podcast downloads, as well as clicking this card right here. And that's if you're on YouTube, you can click it and watch that whole episode. But Deep Space Nine is a series that I've watched over and over again.
I've probably watched it 3 times myself,
at least, and the beginning to end. Even though they haven't given its HD rendering like I wish I would have.
Apparently it's super expensive, and I really wish to. And they have a problem because Next Generation was actually shot on film, so the digital restoration process wasn't as difficult as it would be for something that was not shot on film. So Deep Space Nine and Voyager weren't, which means their restoration would take a long time and a lot of money. I think we'll get there, but I think we'll have to wait a few years because, recently when I went back and watched the series, I'm like, man, why haven't they cleaned this up? Because I'd watched Next Generation
and it's so
gorgeous.
So
crisp.
Even the original series with Kirk.
Well, they redid a lot of the effects too.
Right. Which helped a lot.
All the shots of it's help a lot. And
all the starships.
It's magic. So
So
I'm looking forward to the next bit.
Me too. Me too. Any big hopefuls that you have in the back burner?
No, not really. I hope that they continue this quality through to the end of the series. That's all I ask. I think it's a really redeeming season. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I can't wait because, like I said, I don't really know where this ending's going to go, and to me, that is awesome. That is awesome because I feel going in more invested because it's not your run of the mill, checkbox kind of script storyline, where you can predict what's going to happen.
Exactly.
I feel there are a couple elements we can predict, but the rest of it, can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I believe that's going to wrap it all up for me. Do you have anything, Lieutenant, before we sign off?
No, just keep watching, guys, out there. If you comment, please. I love fan engagement, or watching engagement, or just it's just our opinion on Star Trek. Love to hear your opinion on Star Trek.
Yes. Comment below. Share us your future speculations and all of your quandaries and all things Star Trek. We are going to be continuing this series into Strange New World. So be sure to watch and listen to our Strange New World trailer review as we dive deep into that, because there's a lot to unpack there as well. I'm Captain Joe Dove. This has been Captain's Quadrant, and with me as always is Lieutenant Jason. Please like, share, subscribe, and be sure to rate us 5 stars, if you please, on Apple, iTunes, and Google Podcasts, as we're available there, as well as Amazon, iHeartRadio, and now introducing Stitcher. So we're everywhere now. We're keep expanding, just like the Borg.
We're like an algorithm of the Borg. We're just taking over in the background.
That's right. That's right. So until next time, be well, rest peacefully, and live long and prosper.
See you guys.